subscribers. How are you? Okay, we gotta turn down the blower a bit. Anyway, it's Sunday morning. What is the date? February 19th. So what are we gonna do? Well, I'm just gonna go down and we had a little bit of snow yesterday, but that's not what this is about. This is about probably moving a little bit. So I figured I'd take you along, see if you'll enjoy it. Oh yes, and in the last video I told you there'll be something new added to the cab of the 5740. Well, here it is. Woo! Get it right? We added a third GoPro to the cab. Why? Well, you know, I figured that if you're going to be good enough to watch our videos, we're going to try to give you the best sound quality and the best video quality as we can possibly give you. So, that being said, I figured, hey, you know what? Another dimension, another view in the cab won't hurt anybody. Well, maybe it will. It's not the best looking thing in the world, but anyway, you'll get to see a little bit more of me in the video. So it's a lot more editing, but you know, I believe in quality, not quantity. So we figured that maybe that would be good for you, you know? I'm hoping that, you know, we can give you a quality review of tractor videos that not many are doing. These things, people think you make a barrel of money here on YouTube. I'll tell you, every cent and then some that we get from YouTube goes back into the equipment. Whether it be audio, video, green screens, whatever, we put it back. Put it this way, we hope that eventually the channel will support itself, but right now it's kind of breaking even. We're at the break-even point, and the reason why the third camera too will become more evident when the spring comes. We have some new plans for the channel, and I think you're gonna like it. It's gonna be a little different. Don't see a lot of it happening on YouTube right now, so there's that. The other thing we got to make some changes to, folks, is we got to make changes to our comment section. What's been going on lately is everybody, well, not everybody, some people, and usually non-subscribers, are using our channel as a technical assistance channel. Like if we done a video on snow clearing, we could get 2 or 3 questions on how to repair their Kubota or their tractor, or will this fit that, or will that fit this, and that's not really what our channel is about, folks. It's because when we start to dedicate our time to those types of questions, what ends up happening is our regular viewers don't end up not getting their comments addressed. And I'll tell you, like, Kathy don't have anything to do with the comments, so it's all on me. It makes for a long evening sitting back and just trying to keep up with all the comments, because it's a lot of comments, and you know, and we appreciate them, but please understand that, you know, it might come a point in time where we can't, you know, well, we won't be able to answer them all. But when you combine that with non-subscribers asking technical questions, I mean, it's kind of rude. If we're good enough to ask a question to, we should be good enough to subscribe to. Now, I know there's going to be people out there saying, well, you know, that's a bit much. Well, you know, it's like in anything, you know, you give your priority to your best customers. It's the same thing with your subscribers. You know, your regular and loyal viewers, they're the ones who's going to get my priority. I can tell you that. It's always been that way. And that's what forums are for. When you go on a forum, that's what they're for. You post your questions on forums, not on YouTube videos. Now, if a non-subscriber went to a forum and he asked a question, it don't matter. You know, he's part of the forum. He's got to sign up, and that's the way it's going to be. And the other thing is, too, what I've been doing lately, before I invest any time into answering questions, I'm going to let you in on my thinning out process. My thinning out process is somebody posts a question or a comment. What I'll do is I'll go to their channel if they have one, and even if they don't, I can go on their YouTube page and I'll view how many view their likes, and I'll view their subscription list. And if we don't have any likes or any subscriptions, that thins it out pretty good for me. I don't bother then to even answer the comment, because face it, when you get like 200 and 300 comments per video, you know, you got to have some way to thin them out. And again, I'm just trying to be fair to our regular viewers. Our regular viewers will get priority. If you're a subscriber, you will get priority. If you're not a subscriber and you haven't liked any of our page or any of our videos, well, I know what's up. You're only in to get a question answered, then you're gone, never to come back. So, yeah, there's going to be the haters out there, but I'm just going to tell you, this is how we're running the channel. So far, we've had Instagram. We've removed Instagram because of all the questions. We've removed Facebook because of all the questions. And we're off Twitter now. We've actually closed down our website because people have been calling the shop asking technical questions about tractors. And that's really got nothing to do with our business, you know. It's okay if you're a local guy and you want to get booking some work, that's fine. But I mean, we're literally getting harassed to death. I mean, it's to the point now where we're actually going to change over all our email addresses, and when we see a number from out of province, we're just going to ignore it on the phone. We have to, because it's only Kathy and I that work in the shop, and I can't leave a customer's vehicle to talk to some guy in Florida or in Connecticut or in Vancouver or in Nova Scotia about this tractor. That's what your dealers are for, folks. So that's my bit of a rant for today, because I've just had to deal with a pile of questions. I just spent the last 2.5 hours trying to comment on questions, and then Kathy came out and she said, my lord, she said, do you ever get a chance to watch the news or anything anymore? I said, no. Well, she said, you got to make some adjustments to your channel. So a good friend of mine suggested I close the comment section. I really don't want to do that, because that's not fair that's just not fair to our regular viewers. I don't like to lose touch with our viewers. And I know other YouTube producers, video producers, that are having a real rough time with trolls and spammers. And we don't have too much trouble with that. Trolls, I just delete them, and I put them in my no contact list, and that works out pretty good. So yeah, so this is what we're doing this morning. We're just trying to organize. You can see there's a lot of snow down here, and you know the way it is here in the winter. This is the middle of February. We got at least a month and a half of anything could happen with snow. So I like to be prepared for the next storm. So what I usually do is I come down on a day off, like a Sunday morning like this. It gets me away from the computer, and I like to I just like to get a bit of seat time in. Normally, if I never had the cameras in, I would have some music on and I have it rocking pretty good, but we won't do that today because YouTube will give me a copyright strike. So we'll just have a little chat. I hope everybody's comfortable. There's lots of room in the cab for everybody. Although if you looked at the cab on a 5740, you'd say you wouldn't only fit one person in. I think you're all pretty comfortable. I know one thing. Whew, it is warm. Holy smokes, it's warm. So what we're going to do now very shortly is we're going to take off the bucket here. Or take off the blade, sorry. And we're going to go over and we're going to get the snow bucket. And we're going to move a little bit of that snow. Some of this is quite frozen because it's been there all winter, but it's not too serious. The snow bucket will look after it. I'll give you some pointers then about the snow bucket. Okay. So, there's our snow bucket. So, we've got to go take the blade off. It's actually raining right now. It's 1 degree Celsius. 1 degree, plus 1 degree Celsius. So it's actually a nice day only for the rain. So what I'm going to do is, normally, well, I'll tell you what I do. I'll show you a little trick. A lot of times when you're removing your blade, people will say, Paul, I can't get my blade to remove. It's like the couplers don't work. Well, here's what you got to do. You turn off your engine. You turn your key ahead. And with the engine off, you cycle your third function valve. Hang on there now. Just watch. And what that does, if there's any pressure caught in the lines, you'll be able to relieve the pressure. That beeping that you hear, guys, that's the stereo cycling off. I will be back in a second, folks. Bear with me. There it is, and it can't be no tizzer. They came off very easy. If I left the engine running and didn't relieve the pressure, that would have been a different story. Okay. There we be. Now we will go down and get the snow bucket. Yeah, that's why I like to move the snow. If it's going to rain, well, tomorrow it could be freezing, or the next day could be minus 20 below Celsius. So you don't want that snowbank becoming a chunk of ice. Now down here in the back it don't make much difference. It's kind of just an excuse to get out the tractor. But at the same time, it's nice to have it out of your way. That way, if you get a big snowstorm, you can start from fresh again and go to it. this with a camera, you'll never get it right when you're filming. Okay, I shall go out and see if I can get those locks back down in place. Back in a minute, folks. Oh yeah, super cool. Pump up my seat a bit. No, I'm not breaking wind. Putting more air in the seat. Cool. If anybody's wondering, that's a Grandma air ride seat I adapted to the tractor, and it's got a built-in compressor in the bottom. So now anybody that's using a light material bucket, or a snow bucket as some people call it, you gotta be very careful. You gotta make sure you got lots of counterweight in the back, because folks, some of that snow can get real heavy, especially if it's wet. And if it gets heavy, well, then you got a problem, because it could easily tip the tractor over. The safe way to actually dump with a snow bucket or a light material bucket, because this thing here, folks, this is basically double the size of its original bucket. What I like about it is it actually lets you do your work twice as fast. And what I like to do when I'm dumping, I like to have my wheel straight, because I'm telling you, she can flip. I won't say I've done it, but I will tell you I've come close to doing it. So you have to have a kind of a finesse with it. You've got to have a certain amount of respect for it, because if you don't, you got a problem. Not a big lot to it, but hey, you know what? Something to do, chance to get a bit of seat time. Because when the summer comes, this thing don't get used. I would say I put about 20 hours on this last summer, all last summer. And that's because we were backfilling some of the property. If you've watched our other videos, you'd know. And yeah. I don't know how many hours is even on it now, to tell you the truth. 315 hours. That's a big chunk of snow there, guys. And gals. We have some gals watching us. Kathy figures her job is becoming redundant with all the GoPro stuff. Nah, it's better with the 3 cameras here in the cab. I know it's nice to get some outside footage, but man, I gotta tell you, it's raining, and I wouldn't put a dog out of doors in the rain, let alone my beautiful wife. That was a lot of snow we had last week. We were basically shut down for 2 days, so. And there's places that still not cleaned up yet. Thankfully, we never lost the power. Our hydro stayed on. Although we were prepared for it, but you know, like I always said, when you're prepared for it, it's never going to happen. It's when you're not prepared for it. So you guys have spoken, and you've said that you still want to see some snow clearing videos, so that's why I'm keeping doing them. That's what you want to see, that's what you'll get. Try to fit in a scattered shot one once in a while. And yeah, because the last snow clearing one we done, I asked if you were getting tired of them, and a lot of you said no. There was nobody that said I don't want to see any, so, which is cool. I'm happy with that. And it gives us a chance to spend some time together. It's kind of nice on a Sunday morning. There's no one around. It's noon time, so it's not like I'm waking anybody up. Well, if I did wake somebody up at noon, sure, I've done them a favor, because they were probably going to starve to death in their sleep. Someone sleeping in until 12 o'clock. My God, if I slept in 12 o'clock, Kathy'd call the paramedics. I think if I slept in until 6 o'clock, she'd call the paramedics. Well, we said I should have been a farmer. I have a lot of respect for farmers. When I ask somebody what they do for a living, and they tell me they're a farmer, man, I'm going to tell you, I almost get starstruck, because I'll tell you, a farmer is capable of doing anything. They do their own repairs, they do their own welding, they do their own troubleshooting, they're their own engineers, they have to be. They keep it all going, and they do all this while they're feeding the country. True heroes, really, when you think about it. They work long hours. Man, oh man, oh man. So anybody who's listening, you know how I feel about farmers. Politicians, well, I guess we won't go there. Yeah. No, we won't go there. And my buddy Matt in New Hampshire, he's feeling a little bit better. Some of you folks will remember Matt and Diane from last summer when they came to visit us. Yeah, and they spent the day with us. So we became good friends, and of course, Matt's got a friend of his that lives down the road, and he watches our videos. They're both pilots, and they both, I guess, have an interest in tractors. Well, Matt has a tractor. I don't know about his buddy. So, now behind here, there's a beautiful flower, or shrub, or a grub, or something. It's called a burning bush. I think the last time I checked, Kathy wanted to see that again this spring, so I better not go tormenting that thing too much. If you start seeing me bringing snow back and putting it back in place, you'll know I'm trying to hide something. I guess she's on the cameras watching me, making sure. So, let's have a look-see. There's everything back there. I'm nowhere near that yet, but I just got to keep in mind that it's there. Because these things can can do a lot of damage. Anything can. When you got a big old bucket in front of it. So we don't have any snow in the forecast for this week that I can see so far. So that gives us a chance to clean everything up. Not to see any more snow, to tell you the truth, but that's not going to happen. Yep. Thing about it, but not having anybody over there, I got lots of places to dump the snow. That particular piece of land is privately owned, but I could have bought it some time ago. But I'll tell you, it's some swampy. They started to fill it in a few years ago, and a lot of the local people on the other side started to get flooding, so they gave up on it. I don't think I'll go any closer there. Now we're getting into the frozen stuff. I just want to make a little bit more room so I don't get boxed in the next time we have a snowstorm. That type of thing. You know how it is. Don't have to worry about any hydro wires because all the wiring is below ground. Some discussion created by the last video where I had talked about cordless tools. Metal somebody or another, I'm just going by their handle, metal with numbers behind it. I wish people would leave their names when they're commenting, because I really don't know who I'm talking about when I go to mention it. But he wrote a real long comment, and man, oh man, like it would literally take me an hour to reply to that. To be honest with you, I really don't want any pen pals, because I just don't have the time. But anyway, he was talking about, you can read the comment in the last shop video, the one before this one, and you'll see what he said. Maybe you can comment back to him with your opinion of it. But like, he was basically saying that the way I understood it, he's not buying into the cordless tool thing. It's kind of like a money racket. Well, you know, I did make a short comment, and to tell you the truth, I really do like cordless tools, but they have their place. Somebody asked me why, with all the cordless tools that I'm using in the shop, or I have in the shop, why do I use pneumatic tools, ear tools? And I'll tell you, I really like ear tools. Ear tools got good torque. I have more control. I have a better feel for ear tools. Yeah, they're a little noisier, but they're a little more compact too. They're a lot more compact, actually. So that's why I use pneumatic tools in the shop. I don't think think I've ever worked in a shop where they didn't use pneumatic tools. You know, in a commercial environment. You know, it's okay to use a screwdriver, an electric screwdriver, or a drill with a bit on or whatever. That's fine. But I still prefer the pneumatic tools. And I do use the cordless tools a fair bit, but it depends on the job I'm doing. If I'm out, say for instance, if I'm going on a service call, well, our welding machine has got a generator in it as well. So, you know, if I'm going out on a service call and I had the generator with me, or the welder with me, I don't worry too much about cordless tools. What I do is I just take some corded tools, and matter of fact, there's corded tools already with the welding trailer. They're dedicated just to the welding trailer. That way I don't have to load up and go, you know? It's already there. The same thing with welding equipment and stuff. Like, my rods are on the trailer. Some of them are in an oven in the other shop that you guys haven't seen. And but other than that, like, the welding trailer is pretty well self-contained. But if I'm going on a service call and I'm not taking the welding trailer, well, then what happens is then I'll take my cordless tools, because in some cases I'm up in the woods, as you guys who watch us would know. Sometimes we go working on crushers and stuff, and man, oh man, you know, you're up where there's no power. Sure, the last time I was out working on a screening plant, there wasn't even any birds. We were that far in the woods. So, what else? There's been ever so many comments. Can hardly keep up with them, but it's nice. It's nice. I know our good friends in down under, Australia, New Zealand, man, they've been having some wicked temperatures. Our buddy Craig, who's been watching us for, oh my gosh, for years and years now, I guess, he said it was really, really hot. Yeah. And I guess, you know, like I say, I could never live there because of the heat. But at the same time, I maybe you become accustomed to it. I'd love to see somebody from Australia come here for a visit. They'd probably freeze to death. Because not only is it cold here, but living on the edge of the North Atlantic, it's very damp. So it kind of even makes it worse when it comes to cold. And then we get those lazy winds, and what we call a lazy wind is a wind that would rather go through you than around you. And I'm telling you, it gets cold. What else? Oh, Kathy came out the other day and told me that she's tracing my family tree. And from what I can gather, from what she said, and she's probably right, I'm the sap. So, that was very informative on her part. What else? Too bad we didn't do this live. Be able to get you guys to post questions. Hey, maybe that could be something we could try sometime. Going live from the tractor. Has that ever been done before? I don't know. How much battery power do I have left in this GoPro? We got one bar gone. The new one there. One bar gone, so it's not too bad. I'll be able to throw something together in a video for you. Always something to yak about. Somebody asked me about the shelters, how they're hanging on for the winter. Yeah, they're actually working pretty good. We haven't had any issues. Shelter Logic is the name of them. And boy, I'll tell you, they've really hung on good. This first one, this one over on this side, that's probably 2 years old. They're going on 2 years old. This one here, I think this is going on 6 or 7 years old. And the fabric is still, I'm going to say the fabric is 90%, 95% good. A couple of places rips in it, but that's kind of my fault. But works really well. Never had any problems with them. They've never collapsed. They haven't blown over. They've been just fabulous. It's a cheap way to store your machine in it. And of course, if you have to put a cover on it, well, I remember a few years ago, the oldest one to the left of us here, I went out during a sleet storm and I ruined the zipper on one. So I called Shelter Logic, and Shelter Logic said, well, we don't sell just the doors anymore, you have to buy the full cover. So I said, well, how much is the full cover? And they said, it's $350 delivered. I said, oh, smokes, get us one. So they sent one in, and when I opened up the full cover, it had 2 doors in it. Because usually one door is a solid door in the back. This one had 2 doors, so now I have an extra cover with an extra door. So, like I say, when you look at the prices of storage places, it's a good deal. But then again, I mean, we have lots of property down here to put them. Somebody said, well, why don't you put up one and put your trailers in it? Well, the trailers are pretty good where they're to, because I'll tell you, that's why I bought galvanized trailers. I mean, you look at all U-Haul trailers, they're all galvanized. Why are they galvanized? Because they don't rust. So it's down here, and the tires are all covered over to prevent rot. And yeah, so they're good. Plus this big one over here, the big dump trailer, that's where we throw our scrap, our metal scrap. And just up the road, probably about 15 minutes from here, there's a place that takes scrap. And we just go up in the spring of the year and we dump it. And that guy takes it and recycles it. So, you know, he's making a living at it. And of course, it keeps our property clean. So it's, you know, it's a win-win situation when you can do that. There's one thing about it, folks, if you get tired of listening to me talking, you can just turn down the sound or turn it off. Turn off the sound, and then you can just watch the loader. I don't blame you if you did it. When the snow is compactable like it is there now with the water on it, man, I'll tell you, you can really move a lot of snow, get rid of a lot of snow. I remember one time I was in a 966 cat loader, and we were up. Well, we were up to what they call the administration building. Anybody from Labrador City would know where that's to. And we were moving snow. And I remember going into the pile with the 966. And I remember putting the bucket right up in the air. And just as I got it right up in the air, a big lump of snow came down from the bucket as I was waiting for the Mack truck to back it under it. And it took, the windshield on those were set in with a window trim. They're about that wide, about as high as this one. And it actually went right through the windshield. And of course, it was in the spring of the air. Man, it's ever stuck to the bucket. Yeah, so I was in the spring of the air, and I had my hands out like this, operating, and the glass cut up my arms. I had just a t-shirt on. Man, I got some cutting. So I'm very cautious now of what comes off that bucket, because it can really do a lot of damage, both to you and the machine. Yeah. So folks, be careful when you're lifting piles of snow. Really be careful. Although these are what I would consider small tractors, they can still hurt you. Boy, can they ever hurt you. See, there's a perfect example of a lump coming down. That came down and beat the windshield up and probably kill you. So like I say, when you're using a light material bucket, finesse it. Don't push it. Keep an eye on everything. See, a lot of it's sticking to the bucket now because it's wet. Not wet, but snowball material, if you know what I mean. The other thing you don't do, what I done then, I put the corner of the bucket in to break it up, but don't lift it. Just go in and see if you can crack it like I just did. Because what a lot of guys are doing, they're going in and they're just taking a corner with their bucket. And when they lift up on their FEL, what happens is then they bend the frame of their loader. So then when you put your loader on the ground, on a concrete floor, you got one corner of your bucket up in the air. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. That's a hard problem to correct. Now there's a load. Try to throw it right over the edge if I can get it over there. There you go. She's a goner. Is that all gone out of there? Most of it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go down by the road, see if there's anything down there to move. So I'm kind of happy with that so far. Somebody's going to ask me how the wipers turned on. Well, the wipers is hooked up automatically on this. There's a black dot there on the windshield, and that's a sensor. That's that sweeps the windshield automatically. It's pretty well every time that I'm operating like this and the wipers come on, somebody will say, "How did the wipers come on? I didn't see your arms move." Another fella asked me too, and well, it's happened a couple of times now, is how am I going from forward to reverse? They don't see my hands move, and I'll say, well, it's done on the pedal. For those of you who have never seen the inside of these tractors, because there's plenty of people out there that don't know anything about tractors, and they're all trying to learn. The thing is with these tractors is there's a pedal on the floor, and your heel will make it go in reverse, and you use your toe on the other end of the pedal to let it move forward. And when you take your foot off it, it automatically stops. So, yeah. Just trying to remember some of the questions that people are asking me. The beep. lot of people ask me about the beep. What's that beep? Well, the beep is one of two things. There's a tilt meter over here, a digital tilt meter, and that's set up in such a way that if it beeps, you're probably getting too close to tipping over your tractor. And the other beep that you just heard then, like this one here, that's a shift. This has got a electronic transmission in it. So what it does is you can hit that lever and it'll shift into high range or low range. Like if it's in high range, it's got a high and a low in the high range. If it's in mid-range, it's got a high and a low in the mid-range. And if it's a low range, it's got a high and a low in the low range. So when I hit that, whatever range is in, it'll go to that second speed, which is pretty good. Hey, the rain's coming down pretty good now. Sand in that. That won't hurt. This is not the first time we've done that. But that's typical for this side of the island. You'll get big storms, then a few days later you get torrential rains, and it takes away a lot of the snow. Sometimes it don't, and that's when trouble starts. You'll end up with frozen blocks of ice if you don't deal with the issue. I like to come down here and move the snow. That way it makes it safe for our customers or anybody who's trying to get in. I mean, we have couriers here too that's coming back and forth. You like to keep it safe for those guys as well. You don't want anybody getting a side swipe because they couldn't see what was coming. Also notice too that I usually have my bucket, by the time I dump my bucket, I usually have my bucket down by the time I get to the full length of the loader. I like to do that because it's safe. I don't like going around with the bucket stuck way up in the air. It kind of upsets his center of gravity. No trouble there now for visibility. What's over here? Ah, there's not much. Not worth grabbing. we'll go release that those levers there now. I'd say it's going to be pretty dangerous driving around today in higher elevations because it's 0 degrees Celsius here now, so it's going to be freezing rain in higher areas. Dangerous stuff. There it is. Now, you know what I'll do? I'll go down, I'll park it, and when I get it parked, I'll shut it off, and then I'll do all the hookups again. Take it out of four-wheel drive. Sometimes you can't get them out of four-wheel drive, just rock them back and forth a little bit, and you're good to go. Just a few little tips there, folks. So I'm going to go over now and I'm going to remove all the cameras. Go down and put this back in its shelter. And go in and spend a couple of hours of editing for you. See if I can keep you entertained for a while. Subscriptions don't cost you anything. You just hit the subscribe button and you got us. You know, the more the merrier. You know, that's just the way it is. So keep that in mind, folks. Give us a thumbs up if you can. If you don't like it and you give us a thumbs down, tell us why you give us a thumbs down. I'm okay for that. So right now we got, what, 56 minutes on the clock. I better get going. You guys take care. Have yourself a nice Sunday. And be good. And God bless. We'll see you later.